12 biological entities are currently being held in a facility that officially does not exist. They are not the products of our evolution. They do not share our genetic code. For nearly a century, they have remained the most closely guarded secret in modern history, hidden away from the eyes of the public and the reach of traditional oversight. This is not the speculation of late-night radio or the fever dream of a fringe enthusiast. This is the staggering testimony recently delivered behind the lead-lined walls of a sensitive, compartmented information facility. It is the sworn statement of a high-level intelligence official, a man who has seen the ledgers, the biological remains, and the craft that brought them to our world. For decades, the conversation around unidentified anomalous phenomena was relegated to the shadows of ridicule. To speak of such things was to invite the end of a professional career. But the atmosphere has shifted. A new whistleblower, following in the footsteps of those who came before, but carrying even more weight, has stepped into the light. This individual claims that a shadow branch of the United States government is currently in possession of 12 intact, non-human bodies. These are not merely fragments or blurred photographs. They are biological realities preserved in sterile environments, studied by teams with clearances so high that even the oversight committees of the government are often denied access. The details of these entities are as unsettling as they are profound. They are described not as monsters from a nightmare, but as highly complex biological systems that do not fit anywhere on the tree of life as we know it. Some reports suggest they appear almost engineered, as if their biology was designed for the rigors of deep space travel or different gravitational constants. The testimony indicates that these 12 individuals were recovered from various sites over several decades, often found within or near recovered craft that displayed no visible means of propulsion, no control surfaces, and no recognizable wiring. The clinical descriptions are devoid of emotion, treating these beings as biological assets rather than representatives of another world. This detached, scientific approach highlights the cold reality of how this information has been handled by those in the shadows. The presence of these entities suggests a reality that is difficult for the human mind to process. If 12 such beings are being held in secret, it implies a massive, multi-generational effort to contain the truth. This is not just about the existence of life elsewhere. It is about a shadow bureaucracy that has operated outside the bounds of public knowledge for the better part of a century. The whistleblower alleges that these retrieval programs are funded through complex financial structures that bypass traditional auditing, creating a silent empire within the Defense Department that answers to no one. This is a system designed to prevent the truth from ever being assembled in one place, a world of silos where different teams work on small pieces of the puzzle without ever seeing the full picture. Consider the implications of a craft that can move from a standstill to hypersonic speeds in the blink of an eye. Now, consider the biological cost of such movement. The whistleblower suggests that the bodies recovered show signs of being adapted to these extreme environments. This points toward a technology so advanced that the line between the machine and the pilot begins to blur. We are looking at a level of physics that makes our most advanced propulsion systems look like steam engines in the age of the silicon chip. The craft themselves are described as being made of materials that do not exist on the periodic table. Isotopic ratios that suggest they were manufactured in a region of space with a different stellar history than our own. These materials are often self-healing, capable of changing shape or density based on the energy being applied to them. The efforts to reverse engineer this technology have apparently been ongoing for decades, but the progress is slow because we lack the fundamental understanding of the physics involved. We are like ancient civilizations trying to understand a modern smartphone. We can see that it does something, but we have no idea how. The secrecy surrounding these 12 bodies is fueled by a profound fear of the unknown. There is a deep-seated concern among the gatekeepers that the public revelation of such a discovery would lead to a total collapse of social, religious, and economic structures. If we are not the pinnacle of intelligence, if we are not even the masters of our own skies, what does that do to the collective human ego? The silence is a protective mechanism, but it is also a cage. It keeps the public in a state of managed ignorance, while a select few hold the keys to the future of the species. Behind the closed-door sessions, the whistleblower described the recovery of multiple crashed, non-human craft. These are not all of the same design. They vary in shape, size, and utility, suggesting that we are not being visited by one single group, but perhaps by several different civilizations or entities with varying intentions. The sheer variety of the hardware recovered suggests a busy neighborhood in a universe we once thought was empty. Some craft are described as being larger on the inside, employing spatial manipulation that defies our current understanding of geometry. This physical evidence challenges the very foundation of our history. If these entities have been here for 80 years, what else has been hidden? What other encounters have been scrubbed from the record? And what is the true nature of the relationship between our institutions and these others? The question then becomes, why now? Why is this information beginning to leak after so long? The whistleblower indicates that there is a growing faction within the intelligence community that believes the secret is no longer sustainable. With the advent of private space exploration and increasingly sophisticated civilian sensor arrays, the gatekeepers are losing their monopoly on the sky. They are racing against a clock they can no longer control. The disclosure process is not a choice. It is an inevitability that they are trying to manage before it explodes. In the hallways of power, the atmosphere is one of controlled panic. The individuals who have known the truth for years are facing a crisis of accountability. If they admit to the possession of 12 non-human bodies, they must also admit to the decades of lies, the ruined reputations of those who tried to speak out, and the potential suppression of technologies that could have changed the course of human history. The weight of the secret is becoming heavier than the benefit of keeping it. The physical condition of the recovered entities provides a dark insight into the nature of their arrival. Not all of them were recovered from accidents. Some testimonies hint at events where craft were brought down by experimental human technologies, or where the entities were found in states of distress due to environmental factors they were not prepared for on Earth. These are not invaders. They are often described as being found in states of vulnerability. The clinical records treat them as biological assets, a cold perspective that underscores the ruthlessness of the containment effort. This is not a story of a sudden invasion, but of a quiet, persistent presence. The 12 bodies represent a bridge between our world and something much larger. They are the physical evidence of a reality that we have been conditioned to ignore. The skepticism remains high, and rightfully so. Without public, physical evidence, these claims remain in the realm of high-stakes testimony. However, the credibility of the individuals coming forward is what makes this moment different. These are not people looking for fame. These are career officers with everything to lose. They speak of Project Legacy and other programs designed to study the entities and their technology in total isolation. They speak of the moral burden of knowing that we are not alone, while the rest of the world struggles with questions that have already been answered in secret labs. As the narrative unfolds, we must grapple with the idea that our atmospheric sovereignty is an illusion. The craft described in the reports move through our air and water with a fluidity that suggests our borders mean nothing to them. They operate with an impunity that is both fascinating and terrifying. The whistleblower's revelations suggest that we are being observed, and that the observers have been here for a long time. The 12 bodies are the silent witnesses to this ongoing interaction. The psychological impact of this disclosure cannot be overstated. We are moving from a world where we are the masters of our domain to one where we are the junior partners in a much larger cosmic arrangement. This transition is fraught with danger, as it challenges the power structures that have governed human society for millennia. The tension between those who want to know and those who want to hide is the defining conflict of our age. The whistleblower has hinted that there is more to come. This is just the first wave of a larger movement of insiders who are tired of the silence. They are describing a world where human history is not what we were taught. In the end, the story of the 12 bodies and the crashed craft is a story about us. It is about our capacity for secrecy, our fear of the unknown, and our pursuit of knowledge at any cost. Whether this leads to a new era of transparency or a deeper retreat into the shadows remains to be seen. But the seal has been broken. The whispers have become a roar, and the truth, whatever it may be, is no longer content to stay buried. The desert vaults may remain closed for now, but the ideas they contain have escaped. We are standing on the threshold of a new understanding of our place in the universe. It is a dark, thrilling, and deeply unsettling prospect. The entities are here, the technology is real, and the clock is ticking toward a moment of realization that will change the course of human history forever. The silence was meant to protect us, but it has only delayed the inevitable confrontation with a reality that is far stranger than we ever dared to imagine. Consider the reality of a world where these entities are part of our history. For 80 years, while the world went through wars, technological revolutions, and social upheavals, a small group of people held the knowledge of 12 non-human lives. They watched as we struggled with energy crises and environmental degradation, all while potentially sitting on technology that could solve those very problems. The moral implications are staggering. It is not just a secret about space, it is a secret about the path of human progress. The whistleblower describes a world where the retrieval of these entities was treated with the same cold efficiency as an industrial recovery. The clinical nature of the reports is perhaps the most haunting aspect. There is no talk of wonder or cosmic brotherhood. There is only the study of biological systems and isotopic ratios. It is a portrait of a humanity that, when faced with the greatest discovery in history, chose to hide it in a box. The 12 bodies represent the ultimate other, a mirror held up to our own nature. If they were recovered from crash sites, what was their mission? Were they explorers, or were they something else entirely? The variety of the craft suggests that the visitors themselves may not be a monolith. We might be witnessing the intersection of multiple non-human interests, all occurring above our heads and beneath our notice. The whistleblower's testimony has forced the hand of those in power. Legislators are now demanding access to the programs that have remained hidden for generations. They are asking about the black budgets and the retrieval teams that operate without a name. The gatekeepers are finding it increasingly difficult to maintain the wall of silence. Every day that passes brings a new leak, a new corroboration, and a new reason to question the official narrative. We are looking at a moment where the monopoly on the sky is finally being challenged. The technological gap between the recovered craft and our current capabilities is the most significant hurdle. It is a gap that some believe can never be bridged without a fundamental shift in our understanding of consciousness and physics. As we look to the sky, we are no longer just looking for stars. We are looking for answers. The testimony of the whistleblower is a map into the darkness, a guide to the secrets that have been kept in our name but without our consent. The 12 bodies are waiting in their sterile vaults, silent witnesses to a century of denial. The world is finally starting to listen to the whispers that have echoed in the corridors of intelligence agencies for decades. The mystery of non-human intelligence is no longer a question of if, but a question of what now. The dark thriller of our secret history is moving into its final act, and the ending is still being written by those brave enough to speak the truth. The atmosphere of controlled panic in Washington is a testament to the weight of these revelations. It is the panic of an old guard realizing that the world they built on a foundation of secrets is beginning to crumble. If the public is finally told the truth, the relationship between the governed and the government will be forever altered. The 12 bodies are more than just biological specimens. They are a catalyst for a global paradigm shift. They represent the end of our isolation and the beginning of a new, uncertain chapter. The whistleblower's claims challenge the very foundation of what it means to be human. If we are not the only intelligent biological systems, then our place in the universe must be reevaluated. We must move from a state of managed ignorance to a state of uncomfortable awareness. The transition is coming, whether we are ready for it or not. The seals on the desert vaults are cracking. The silence is ending. And when the full truth comes out, when the 12 entities are finally acknowledged, nothing will ever be the same again. The dark thriller that began nearly a century ago is reaching its climax, and the reality that awaits us is far stranger than any fiction.